All right, let's go to Miguel and Lindy. We see Dr. Pepper come to visit them, and Lindy had baked cookies.
They still don't have much going on with them, and
she really didn't do a whole lot.
She really did do a whole bunch with them, so it was like they're kind of flying underneath the radar right now.
Mm-hmm. Even though she be having crazy outbursts.
Yeah, she be spazzing.
But she had baked some cookies, and that was a whole little joke or whatever.
Yeah.
Miguel was like, I guess she wanted to be welcoming, so she baked some cookies. She's always baking. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Pepper was like, maybe I'll get one later. And so she's like, I understand.
Translation, I ain't trying to eat from everybody's house.
Yeah, but I understand it's been going well for y'all, but, I want to help y'all go deeper. And Lindy says, I'm still learning how not to be defensive. She said she was cooking the other day, and he gave her a suggestion, and she immediately got defensive, as opposed to saying, oh, he just wants to help. She was like, I need to work on that. I'm trying to be a good wife, and then you tell me, you suggest something, I'm feeling like you're telling me I'm not being a good wife. And so she was like, I was on the defensive. I need to change that.
I'm glad she recognized it, because you can't be putting up walls. I mean, I think in marriage and relationship, but it also goes back to you, and I've learned this from you in marriage, how you say things and how you suggest people do things, because you can say things and you can feel like your spouse can feel like you're attacking them or making them do something they don't want to do. So you got to be able to say it in a nice manner and voice and tone. So I'm learning. And that's what Miguel has to do too. He has to learn that when he speaks to Lindy, that he has to say it in a tone that she doesn't think is aggressive, and that she doesn't have to be. But I think
we know Miguel. I think we've seen enough of Miguel to know he probably didn't say it like that.
But the way that but she has to learn that though.
That's what she needs to learn.
He didn't say it like that, but again, the way that she interpreted it was that it could have been a little influx. He might have yelled. He might have been in the back room yelling. You know what I'm saying? And she took it as she has to identify and understand when Miguel is upset, when it's just a suggestion, or when it's like, I don't want to say command, but when it's a directive.
Or when I'm too focused on trying to be so perfect.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. And Dr. Pepper said, I understand that because you fought so hard to be independent and, coming out of your family background or whatever. And so, but you need to distinguish between control and him trying to help. Because you get defensive when you feel like somebody's kind of trying to control you. When you understand they're just trying to give you help, then it'll soften you some. And so Dr. Pepper's like, you need to learn those two. And yes, it takes some from Miguel, but it takes more from her realizing, just like she told Stasha and Nate, like we're a team.
Yeah.
And we're doing this for the team. Dr. Pepper asked, have y'all said you love you yet? And Lindy was like, no, we haven't. And Dr. Pepper says, look, I'm sure you'll be sure about love at some point. Mm-hmm. And years later, you'll realize that wasn't what this is. Like, you'll realize that before is not where you are now, and it's just as good, and you'll see more growth, and you'll realize, oh wait, I guess I kind of was in love then. I just didn't want to acknowledge it, and I'm even further along now.
But it goes with what Pastor Cal always say: you grow in love.
Right.
Right. You grow in love, and I think the longer you spend time with each other, the more you communicate, the more you interact, the more you go out, the more you even watching TV, the more you have feelings, emotions, and even arguments. You realize that we're growing into love.
Mm-hmm. Miguel said, saying "I love you" is very special to him, and he wants to make sure that when he says that he's not doing her a disservice, that he really means it, and that she can take his word for it. And that's really all Dr. Pepper talked to them about. It's very low-key. Low-key. We see them later go to a dance class. And she said dancing represents freedom to her because, and basically, I like that she added this. Mm-hmm. She was like, I'm not condemning or, putting down, I don't want it to seem like they're putting down my denomination, but this is just how I grew up. It was really strict, and I don't even necessarily understand why. She said, but dancing to me is freedom because we didn't get to dance. Like I told you on the wedding day, this is one of the first and only times I've danced with a guy. And so...
yeah, she talked about they didn't dance in school. She never seen her parents dance. She never seen anybody dance. She might have thought they thought it was sexual or... Yeah,
but she was like, it's funny because there was a lot of dancing in the Bible. But that's just like... Well, I don't want to go there, but there's some denominations or religions that feel like that you shouldn't have birthday parties because they reflect that on one incident in the Bible with the birthday party, but I'm like, but other places is fine. But anyway,
yeah. And there's a lot of dancing in the Bible, but for different things. So.
Yeah. Like I said, dancing is empowering to her. She didn't understand why they couldn't dance. They had a little cocktail table set up where they was chit-chatting with after the fact. And, you know, she said she never seen her parents drink. They don't eat pork. They don't eat no seafood. Like, they strictly bound by, it was a lot of things in the Old Testament part of the Bible that they still stuck to. And so,
yeah, she
missed that. And his vignette, he said that hearing about her childhood makes her feel sad for him because she missed out on so much stuff.
Yeah.
But he realized that she's fought to change it and not let it affect her in the future. So he appreciated that. They write the letters to them younger selves, to their younger selves. She wrote her letter to her 13 or 14-year-old self. So that was like right after her parents' divorce, and she came out of a toxic household, and she was like, you know, you'll be raised by basically your 14-year-old friends. You'll be raised with them, and there'll be a lot of pain and fear, and uncertainty will drive you and push you to where you should be. You know, she was like, I was homesick. I was in a strange environment, but it was a transition for her, and, you know, she made it out. So she's encouraging her younger self, you know, that this might happen, but you'll make it out okay.
Yeah, because she talked about in the previous episode how she had to go live with someone. Mm-hmm. And that's where she first saw what a true marriage looked like, right? Mm-hmm. What a marriage should be like. And she experienced some different things in there. So, you know, her letter to herself was very encouraging. And, you know, very encouraging for her. I think, you know, one thing that she said that that was key for me was that she understands that she clarified that her life wasn't bad.
Right.
That it wasn't bad. That it was some good things and got a foundation that she has to get her to where she's at right now.
Mm-hmm. And Miguel shared that he's curious and excited to see how they'll raise their kids with her coming out of, both of them coming out of such a hard upbringing, and, you know, how they'll make changes. They go to the house of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, because you can't take her back home.
No.
You can't take her.
And so here's significant things about Puerto Rico. There's a map, and he talks about this beach and a place, and you know, he says, you know, he wants her to know his culture and where he grew up and understand his past as well as his future and how that each one are connected. And he said, you know, I grew up in Puerto Rico, but then when I moved to New York, he was like, you know, I had whole different chapters in my life. You know, I went to New York. I lived in New York, and I got picked on for being Puerto Rican in New York. And I see some people on Instagram question that too. I was like, well, that's odd. Why would you get picked on in New York for being Puerto Rican? Because there's a lot of Puerto Ricans. It's a lot of Latinos and Hispanics in New York, but somebody made the comment in certain places.
Certain areas, certain neighborhoods. Where he lived at, he didn't live in the right neighborhood.
Right. I was like, oh, wow.
He might not lived in the neighborhood with all the bodegas and all the different things. He lived in a neighborhood where there was more Caucasian people, and they didn't have the culture. Mm-hmm.
And then he said, but then in New York, I got picked on for basically not being white. And then I moved to Puerto Rico, and I got picked on for not being Puerto Rican enough.
And not speaking Spanish.
I didn't speak Spanish, you know. And, you know, he was like, he came into the Married at First Sight thing, kind of hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, because that's what he's had to do when he went to those different places that he lived. He shared his letter to his younger self. He said, you know, he encouraged himself to stay strong. It gets better. You'll suffer a little, but what doesn't kill you will definitely make you stronger. And at 35, you know, keep being wistful and hopeful for better times, because you're going to find a total babe that you'll fall madly in love with. And then he says, you know, I love you. And she's like, oh, you said it. Oh my gosh, I love you too. And, you know, she's elated that he said it back. And he said it didn't feel weird to tell her that he loved her, you know, even though it's only been a month, a little more than a month, and the process is fast. But I can say, you know, I love her. I mean, I did put her on my insurance, so.
I know, right? She does have coverage now. Shoot, so I should love her. You know, we were good to go. If something happens, she's covered.
So that's it with Miguel and Lindy. Like you said,
nothing major.
Right about Except for her old manic episode. And I'm sorry. I don't mean to be offensive when I say that, but
man, this is our channel.
Her manic episode, she been flying under the radar. I'm surprised. I feel like I expected a lot. I hate to say this. I kind of expected a lot worse from Miguel.
I did too, but Miguel seemed like he just chill.
Mm-hmm.
He just chill right now.
But being chill, it might be. I mean,
but
you
no,
can
but
be
he's
too
chill.
chill.
But even you can see he's processing, he's thinking, and he probably like, you know what? I don't want to be like these other couples. Mm-hmm. You know, I see how these other couples. I don't need to add that to my plate.